Okay, welcome to Drawing Lab Apparatus Part 2, where we're going to continue looking at how to draw some of the common types of lab apparatus. Remembering that there are three golden rules that we want to try and stick to. We always draw in a pencil, because that way if you mess it up, you can fix it up. If it's a straight line, you always use a ruler. Never just close enough is good enough, always with a ruler. We also draw 2D figures. We never try to draw the three-dimensional figures that you see, for example, here or here. That's a 3D picture. Our proper diagrams, the center row, are never in 3D. They're always in 2D, and they're always side-on views. Once more, I will apologise for the fact that my drawings will be a little bit sloppy, because I'm drawing them on an iPad, and it's very tricky to get the straight lines done and to meet up. But anyway, you'll get the general idea. The first one we're going to look at is the filter funnel. Let's have a look at the diagram on the left, the actual picture of the filter funnel, and I want to point out a couple of features. Yes, it is round, and we're not going to be showing that. But the sloping sides of the filter funnel, they're symmetrical, but they also make up about half the total height of the filter funnel. Now that's something that students often get wrong. Notice on the diagram here that cone shape is about half the total height. The other thing that students often miss is the fact that they have an angled bottom on the filter funnel, and we want to convey that over here as well. A very common mistake that students make when they draw these is they try to draw one side like that, and then the other side goes like that, and you end up with something that, well, just looks broken. So I'm going to show you a trick to avoid that mistake. I'm going to draw in red here to show you, to indicate the fact that this line is not going to be part of the final diagram. It's really a measurement line. So draw a line to match the width that you want your filter funnel to be. And in the middle of that line, make a mark, like so. So that might be, say, 5 centimetres to the left and 5 centimetres to the right. And then down below that line, halfway down where your diagram is going to be, is make another dash. Now we're focusing in on this dash here. What we are going to do is we're going to draw a line, for example 5 mil to the left and 5 mil to the right, something like that. Now what those lines give us, remembering yours are going to be in pencil, is they give us a nice frame around which to draw our diagram. So what we now do, using our ruler, we draw from the top left down to the middle left, and we go from the top right down to the middle right. Now all that remains to do is rule parallel lines from there and down from there. One of those should be longer than the other, and that then gives us the diagram. All that remains to be done there is to erase what I've got drawn in red, and you have your scientific diagram of the filter funnel. Pause now and draw your filter funnel. The next one I want to do is the conical flask, and I want to do that because it's in a lot of ways almost exact a flipped version, or kind of an upside down version of what we did with the filter funnel. First of all, let's have a look at the flask. One difference is that the neck of the flask does not go down to halfway. It only goes a quarter or a third of the length, probably only about a quarter. Also, the wide bit is at the bottom, not at the top, like in the filter funnel. Okay, we're going to do a similar thing. We're going to draw ourselves some guidelines around which to frame our conical flask. This time I'm going to draw them at the bottom. So that's the width of my flask, and I'm going to have a line in the middle, and I'm going to have an equal distance either side. And I'm going to go up to where I think the flask should rest, and I've drawn that line up high, and then I'm going to mark in the width off that line. Again, it should be an even measurement to the left and to the right of the dash that we've made. And now, so what remains to be done is we're going to rule from the top left guideline down to the bottom left guideline like so, and from the top right down to the bottom right, and we're going to use the width of that guideline to give us the neck of our flask. If we want to, we can add in the lips of the flask because they do flare out a little bit. So if you want to draw those in, you can do that. It'll be easier for you to do on yours than on mine. Now this is not finished because I want to point something out. Rounded corners. Remember what we did for the beaker? We're going to do the same thing here. We are going to rule our line in like so, and then we are going to draw rounded corners to fill in on that. The lines in red get rubbed out, and hey presto, you have your conical flask. Okay, the next two I want to look at are the measuring cylinder and the Bunsen burner, and you can see, whilst in reality they look a bit different to each other, the diagrams are quite similar. Note though, with a measuring cylinder actually gives you accurate measurements on the side. We don't usually draw those on our diagram of the beaker, but on the measuring cylinder we often put those things in so we can be clear as to what it is we're actually looking at. The most common, now if you actually have a look at the diagram there, it's pretty straightforward. I don't think you need too many tips or tricks on how to do that, but I will show you the most common mistake that students make is they will draw something that looks like that. So that's all good so far, and then they give it a base that looks like it's the bottom of a rocket. They're never like that. They're pretty flat. So the flatter the better. So let's get rid of that base. So you would end up drawing something that should resemble much more something along those lines, and we can put our measurements or so along there. Again, measuring cylinders do have a spout, so you have the option of drawing a spout on either side, but if you do, you should be starting off with these sides equal and then erasing one side and then adding the spout onto that. Let's go down to the Bunsen burner, and it looks much the same. Again, the same mistake I see students doing is they draw the Bunsen, it all looks good, but then they make the base of the Bunsen, I've seen it done where the base of the Bunsen is half the height of the Bunsen. The Bunsen bases do not look like that. They are very, very flat, and so we're going to draw them like so. So let's get rid of that, and let's go again using your ruler, your pencil, and using the available space. So something like that. Now the Bunsen bases can be quite wide. Now that's perfectly okay. We can draw in our collar, our air hole, and our gas hose running off to the side. If you are running the Bunsen, then of course you would draw in the appropriate flame that you're using up there. Now the final one we're going to do is a watch glass, and it's a little bit different to the others, isn't it? You don't use a ruler. Some students find this actually the most challenging. I'll give you a tip with this one. If you're right-handed, tip your page 90 degrees to the right. And if you're left-handed, then tip it 90 degrees to the left. Now what that allows you to do is to hold the pencil in your writing hand and lie the side of your hand on the page and don't move it. By locking down the side of your writing hand, it actually seems to assist with the drawing of this. So again, in pencil, I'm putting the side of my hand down on the page and I am attempting to draw a flat dish like so. Let's have a look at that. Now that's fairly symmetrical. Sometimes you'll see these drawn looking something, they'll be leaning on one side, so you can see the left side of this is really different to the right side. It's not symmetrical. If I drew that, I'd just cross that out altogether and start again. This one up here is fairly symmetrical. It's flat and it's shallow. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your diagrams, and don't forget to check with me when you finish each page. Good luck.